Hey guys, it's me, EODGamerZ here. So sometimes you might get spammed, you put certain items in the stash and then you get pinged even though it's like a multi-divine item. What exactly do you need to price your items? How do you exactly go about pricing your items accurately? Especially if sometimes there are no similar items at all in the market. What is your thought process? What do you exactly do? In this video, stay tuned. We're going to be touching everything about this as well. I have 3 items that I want to talk about today, which is a little bit difficult to price. I intentionally chose 3 items. One, of course, is going to be a crossbow, which is very awkwardly decent, but also not quite as well. And 2 breach rings that are really strong that some of you might not be able to understand the true value of how to price stuff correctly, just to show a demonstration. So, for example, let's start off first with the easiest out of the few rings, is this one over here. You have a 3-liner attacks together with a bit of lightning, together a bit of cold, to get a mana regeneration. Why are people offering 10 divine plus and spamming me for it? The most important thing is you need to know what drives the price of these items. If you guys have no idea what drives the price, we have videos on the channel that teaches you every single thing that you need to know. What is the stuff that's going on, because every league is different. If you're watching this in future 0.3 or full launch, it might be different prices. So stay tuned to the channel's latest videos for better updates. So these 3, I can just tell you the answer right now. In this current league, the thing that is driving the prices is physical as well as lightning double T9. This is the item that is moving the prices. So in order to understand this, let me just pin it real quick. To understand the value of the prices, we need to come in to the trade side here. And some people, I noticed that they like to use overlays and then they'll click everything and then they'll say, EOD, there's no comms. They'll mention on Discord, EOD, there's simply no comms for this item. It's just so difficult to find. I just can't find comms. So is my item like 5 mirrors of Kalandra or something like that? That's not quite the case. First, we need to search the 2 lines, physical and lightning, that is driving the price. What exactly is driving the price over here? So you can see if we search a double tier 9 line of physical and lightning, these are not even double tier 9 lines. These start from 16. This is 20 as well. So let me just zoom out a little bit so we can see. We have not even double tier 9s. These are like 8, 8, 9, 8, starting at 16, 20. That's why I'm getting spam at 10 divines as well. So if this is the first one with a double tier 9. So you have physical as well as lightning. And this is a really nice 30 divine line item already. So this is probably like the closest competition to the previous ring. This one here is also quite close. We have a double P9 over here. But the problem with accuracy rating so low, it doesn't really add too much value. So from here, what we can infer is comparing these 2 items with the same P9 line, this one over here, as well as this one over here, the Behemoth Hold and Dire Circle. The 3rd line on the prefix is absolutely useless, although the suffixes here are pretty decent. The one that will drive the price is the 3rd line. So if we were to stretch it a bit further, and now we are looking for something with either, so I like to use this one over here, weighted sum. So I will find either fire damage to attacks, or cold damage to attacks. So mine was about 16 to 24, which is a tier 7. So I'm looking for either a tier 7 fire or tier 7 cold. So minimum, let's just say, let's do like 15. Either one can do 15, and then we will search for these lines. And as you can see, a triple P8 costs us 50 divines. A double tier 9, which is something that we have, and a P6, which is lower than what we have, is going for 70 divines. And over here, you can see the different comms. So this is what is driving the price. The bottom over here, not really, people don't really care too much about that. P8, P9, P4 is already 60 divines. And you can see this is how exactly you price your items. You'll find the closest comm based on the lines that are driving the price. In this case, I will be looking for something that is double P9 as well as a P7 line, as close as I can get, which for me seems to be roughly around 70 divines, around 70 or 60 to 70 divines, because this is like a double P8 with a P9 in fire. So physical and lightning has a much higher weightage this season because of the Amazon lightning spear. So this is probably where the item's fair value is. If you want to let it sell faster, you will lower the price. Maybe 50-ish would sell quite fast as well. It's quite good fair value for the item that is a double P9, P7 line. The suffixes, of course, as you can see, it doesn't really matter. in this early to mid-game league environment. People are looking for that 3-line flat, which is really the driver of the price. So we touched on the first one, which is something that is maybe not that easy to get for a lot of people. So I want to touch on something that is maybe a bit more relatable right now, which is not double or triple perfect lines. We are looking at something like this one over here, which is P9, P8, P6. Again, this is going to be very similar to what we are thinking of already. The line, the train of thought. The thing that is driving this item's price is physical as well as lightning is the one that is pushing the price. And of course, we have a low roll in coal. So because of this, we can see here, very similarly, we are looking for P9, P6, P9, P8, P6, which is something like this, 60 divines. You have a coal here. So both of them are roughly around 50 to 60 divines, thereabouts. We can lower this down slightly because it might not be super high. So if we lower it down to like this is like quite close, 30 divines. So for the second ring, because it's not a double perfect and it's not really, and it fractured a useless line like life regeneration and stuff like that. Whereas the other fractures here are useful. No matter how, it would not be a very good item because you can't make it perfect with all 6 lines decent and useful. So I would say roughly around 30 to 50 divines will be a fair value for it, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could even pick one up towards the later end at slightly lower than 30 divines. That would be the fair value for the second ring. So you have to see the difference because a max roll line is worth a lot more than just a second highest tier, because these are actually quite easy to get if you fracture them and recombine them later on. You can actually get this with a high confidence interval, whereas if you're trying to get a max roll, a P9 is very, very difficult. It costs us a lot, especially for attack lines, which has the higher you go, the less probability of them appearing too. So this is for the rings, which a lot of people will appreciate. Now, I'll talk about something for weapons. Weapons are going to be a little bit more different. So an example will be this bow over here, this crossbow. Is a triple max line prefix, but it's a corruptor one. So I specifically chose this one because it's a little bit trickier to price. So I want to share with you the thought process as well. For those of you who don't play crossbows, it's even better this section because it will teach you exactly how to price items that you have no idea about the market at all. So let's say you drop something like this straight away and you list it up and people start spamming you for the prices. Most important thing is you need to know what drives the value of a crossbow. We have guides on our channel on the different markets already, and more importantly than not, you need to follow the different like crossbow guides that we have, scepter guides, because every single item is very different from each other. One item might go for accuracy, one item might go for projectile skills, one item might go for additional arrows, whereas this one is additional bolt very useful or not. Long story short, the lines that drive this crossbow is the physical damage max roll as well as the physical damage flat max roll. These are the two main drivers. So tier 8, tier 9, 176 as well as a 55 in physical damage. So I'll go over the trade side and first input in the key ones. Let me just click it in. So we have physical damage percentage. And of course, if you're finding value in this video so far and helping you price items, do leave me a like and subscribe for more such future content as well. It'll really help the channel grow and reach out to more people to help them too. So something like this, 172, 55, crossbow, and importantly, it's going to be an item level 82, but I want to restrict the requirements to only crossbows that are level 75 and above, which means it's the top tier, because a siege crossbow is the top tier crossbows, the top 3 crossbow types, base items. So you can see here, the site is still lagging, my item is here, and it's obviously very, very mispriced. That's why we are getting spam, regardless of the comp it is. You can see the second item is like 14 divines, even if we're looking for the next line. So number 1, we have a max roll physical damage, max roll physical percentage as well. So you're looking for a P8, P9 comparison. So let's just care about 2 lines first. If it's a weapon, most likely you're caring about this double physical. So you look for correct comps. So something like this, you have a P8, P9. This 2 is a good line. These 2 are max roll lines as well. So this is the closest competitor right now, or comp for you to see your weapon. Then we need to understand the next few rolls. So this is cold damage, which is a very low roll. The DPS here is only 944, and the rest of the lines in the suffixes are absolutely garbage. So you know that your item is probably going to be worth a bit more than 30 divines. The next question will be then, which of the rest of these items are going to be the closest competitor? And in order to understand that, you need to understand the nature of the line itself, the nature of the weapon. So for crossbows, additional bolt doesn't matter. Attribute requirements, of course, doesn't matter. Projectile skills is alright, but not super critical. The third line that is driving it is the max roll in physical or in elemental damage with attacks. And this is a very tricky one because it doesn't come out in the tooltips. So if you are looking at this number over here, DPS, this line doesn't appear, but the damage it adds is very, very insane. So you want to filter for something like this, elemental damage line. Let's put 100, not the max line, just to show you. And over here, you can start to see a very, very fair comp of the crossbows already. So if you're looking at P8, P9, P6, specifically these three combos, the only other competitor now is at 300 divine crossbows, whereas the one that I have here is 6 divine. So because of this massive gap in amount, you don't think that your item is worth 300 divine straight away. You need to start lowering your estimate. So let's say, because it's a 3 lines, let's lower it because your buyers will also be looking at alternatives. So let's lower the physical percentage, physical flat, to start to see more good comparisons. And now that we lowered the amount, we can start to see a bit more. We now have this crossbow over here, which is 100 divines. We have 250 divines, no longer maxed here. So we can feel that roughly this crossbow will go somewhere between 100 divines, 250 divines seems to be a pretty fair value. And if we lower it even more, let's bring it down to like 150, 40. And now we can start to see a lot more comps. Now the site updated, disappeared. But over here you can see 176, very, very different from these numbers over here. The DPS is way different. So that's why the pricing is also very, very different. But as you keep lowering numbers, you can see if you sell it anywhere between like 25 divines or less, it's going to be very, very cheap. It's definitely not. Somewhere between like 50 to 75 if you are looking for quick cash might be okay, but it's also significantly undervalued. My thought process of a fair value would be somewhere between 75 all the way to like 250, 300 divines is all possible for this crossbow. And that's how I price items, especially if you don't really know which line is important for an item. Go step by step, one line by one line, and you will be able to find your items. And hopefully this video helped you out as well to help you price your items fairly. If you're interested in how do I craft all of these godlike gear in barely 3 weeks into the new league, check out our other videos. I share with you every single league, the best money making strategies as well. Thank you guys again so much for watching. See you guys in the next video.